Okay, so if we're going to turn best work and best life from a marketing slogan into an actual experience, into an expectation, into shared language, shared practices, and actually shared experiences, it's got to become part of our culture. How in the world do you start doing that? We already said earlier, well, we start with the leaders. They can't feel guilty. They need to actually start doing their best work and living their best life and showing that it's possible and inspiring and giving permission to the people who work for them. But the other thing we talked about is that it's hard. This is a journey, and unfortunately, there are going to be thousands of hours of reps put into how do we do this. So the first thing I introduce is this model that puts mastery out there as an outcome, but says you got to have some prerequisites. When we were studying people who are trying to become excellent at what they did and really master their craft, one of the things that we learned is they won't stay on the journey to mastery because it's hard if they can't breathe. The first thing we actually need in our lives is a little bit of margin. And so do you have it? Do your people have it? Do they have physical margin, emotional margin, mental focus? Do they have some space where they get to really apply their own values? And do they even have margin in their budget? If you can't breathe, you can't achieve. You are not going to do the hard things on a consistent basis to be your best. We also found out they got to have their minds right. They've got to actually believe that this is possible. They've got to want to do the hard things. This means we have to actually help people realize that the secret to their success and them achieving their potential involves things like struggle, conflict, and failure. These are ingredients to getting better as a human, and we have to learn to recognize and lean into them, not lean away from them. That is probably going to require some training and some practices. The third thing, they need a big why. We had a former Navy SEAL tell us, BHAGs are great, big, hairy, audacious goals. BHOWs are better, big, hilarious, outrageous whys. Yes, our organization needs a mission, and if you have one, that's awesome. But our people need a mission too, and they have got to know the mission they're on. That is what is going to help them orient towards their work, having a mission. There is a great study in 2009, it was published, that shows engagement and commitment to an organization goes up when people get clear on who they are, not when they get clear on who the organization is. So as HR leaders or as executives, we spend a lot of time talking about the values and the culture and the beliefs of our organizations. We need to spend a little bit of time helping our people figure out their values, their beliefs, their own mission. Those are the prerequisites. The other thing is, unfortunately, it's not done in a step. It's 7. So when we think about elevating performance, we often, as leaders, we think we got to jack up the accountability. And yes, we do. We need stratospheric accountability if we're going to help humans achieve their potential. But that is not the first step. You introduce accountability without clarity, without trust, without people having the right mindset, you unleash fear in your organization, and fear will kill your organization. So where do you start? We said we start with margin. You got to be able to breathe to achieve. Then we start to actually work on the mindset. We've got to believe we can. We've got to learn how do we value struggle and failure and conflict. When we start to value it, we start to lean into other people. We can build high trust relationships. When the team actually starts to trust each other, that's when you can move into clarity. Without clarity, we will not get there. We need clarity on what the organization is about. We need clarity on our roles. We need clarity on our own personal values and goals. You've got to get clarity top to bottom. And then, well, you're not done. Then you can actually start to do the hard work of improving the work. You know there is waste all over your organization, and mine too. You know that there are people making mistakes and then feeling bad about it, maybe even hiding it. If you're going to uncover the opportunities to get better, you got to do these other things first, and then you lean into the friction. Then you lean into how do we reduce struggle? How do we improve quality and outcomes where we work? You're going to start to get people fired up. They're going to want to take on bigger projects, and they're going to want to go faster. That's when you're ready to actually start to pour some jet fuel on this thing and talk about how does acceleration work? How do we navigate change? How do we actually become more agile in our work practices? As you do that, now you're actually ready to say, hold me to it. I have a positive mindset. I am strong and healthy. I'm doing hard things and I need to get better, and I cannot do them by myself. That is when you're ready to teach teams, how do we do this accountability thing? So if you're interested in learning more about the journey to mastery, I welcome you to reach out to me. If you want to share this with your own team and you're thinking about how do we organize our training, use this, please. If we go for performance and we get everybody in survival mode, they're not going to stick around. If we get them just focused on being happy, but they're not achieving, they're not getting challenged, they're not going to stick around. It's how do we navigate this climb and stay on the climb. I hope this is helpful. I hope it will help your organizations. And I do ask, reach out if I can be of help to you. Thanks a lot.